Hello everyone. In the last video, we have covered the architecture of HBase. We have gone through how HBase works, what are the different components in HBase, and how exactly all those components are tied up together. If you have not seen it, you can go and click the link mentioned. Okay, so this video, the focus is to understand the storage in HBase. How exactly the data gets stored, how exactly these tables stored in which format, how exactly it is stored on the disk. So all these things you will understand in this video. I'll also cover how in the last video we covered how the read happens, but how actually the read happened internally. It was a high level. This will be more deep down on the read and write operations at a file level. Okay, so this will be very important if you want to build any HBase based application. This will help you a lot while designing or while understanding that how it gets stored and how you are retrieving data. So it will make the application more better performant efficient, and you can write a better HBase applications. Okay, so in this one, let me first take you that the data model of HBase. So to understand that one, we will compare the RDBMS data model. Like if you see the RDBMS, the data are stored in the row format, like it's a row-based storage. Okay, one row will have all the columns mentioned there. Okay, whereas when you come to the HBase, it store data into a columnar format. Like instead of storing as a row-wise, data is stored as or grouped as a columns. Okay, so how it is grouped? Each table will have multiple column families. One column family will have multiple columns. Okay, and one column is constituted from the key and value pair. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. So that's the way it is stored. Now if you see that, okay, if I have 10 different rows, so for each rows the columns are grouped together. Okay, so it will have a row key and the column name and the column value. This is the way it will store data into the backend. So because why it's stored in this way? Because if you want to retrieve any specific column, you don't have to go all the values of different columns or all the values for a particular row. It will just go to that specific column family and retrieve that specific column. So it's much easier and much faster in that way. Okay, so that's why it's stored in the columnar format. So now when we understand that how exactly a data model is, the data and column families. Okay, this is the way. So then now let's go to the write operation. How exactly a write operation happens. Okay. Before that, I will just mention more thing that each you can have multiple column families. Now division of column families also depends on how you want to store data. Like HBase doesn't recommend to have lot of column families, but for in some cases where we need to have the columns that is like descriptive type of column, or the column which is storing the images in a byte array format, those columns we can put into a different column families. The columns we put into a same column family. How it is benefit when you read it will, you can just point out, okay, I just want to read that the column families with the specific data. So it will skip those column families which has the bigger chunk of data. Okay, so this is the way it's helpful in doing the column. Okay, now let me take to the write example. How exactly it happens? So whenever write request comes in, it comes to a write ahead row. Okay, that's the edge row. Then the region server first create a region object, like it assigns a region for you. So when a read request comes in, a region is assigned for a particular table. For one table, the region is assigned. Okay, one table is assigned, a region is assigned for a particular table, and for each column family there is a store instance created. Okay, so understand that point. Data comes to write ahead row, so write ahead of recovery. But as soon as data comes in, region server create one region. One region holds multiple column families. So in a table, if you have divided into two different column families, then there will be a two store instance will be created. Right, store instance nothing but just to store the file. So two store instance will be created. That store object, okay, that store instance will have its own read and write cache. Mem store as a write cache and block cache as a read cache. Each store file instance will have its own cache. So data from write ahead log return to the mem store, and this mem store flushes into the H files. Okay, so the store, so for each column family we have different store files. So for the column families, when it goes to the memory store, when memory store fills up right to H file. So one H file or the H files will have the specific column family only. Okay, it will not spin across multiple column families here, because the data comes in and data gets stored into the column family manner, and it will goes to the H files. So similarly, if I have multiple column families, multiple H files will be created. One store file can have multiple H files as well. Assume that for a particular column family you are adding more and more records. So once the memory store fills, it creates one H file. Now again memory store got cleaned up and new data comes in memory store, and again it's created into a new H file. So one store object can have multiple H files. These H files will get stored in HDFS. Okay, we got that concept. So now in HDFS, if you see how it's stored, so in HDFS, if you go to the home directory of HBase in the Hadoop file system, in a Hadoop file system, you will have a primary directory of HBase. In that, there are multiple table subdirectory. In the table directory, we will have a region information, that's encoded hash encoded value of the region name, and then in each region we have a column family. Correct? So one region can have multiple column families. So there is a subdirectory of a column family, and that column family, that is the actual file which is store the actual data, the key value format of that one. If you want to see, if you have a cluster, you can go and check that one, and there are ways like HBase provides a way to read that in a specific format as well. Like you can read that H file as well. So it's very good. You can just go to that how many column families are there, and from which row till which row this H files holds the data. Okay, that's the right understanding. Now, before that, one more thing I just want to call is region splits. When data comes in, like okay, when tables keep growing. So as I mentioned that okay, one region will hold that particular column family, multiple column family. Okay, so when the data comes in, it's increasing. So that region get split into multiple regions. Correct? If it starts filling up at a particular point, it needs to be split so that the region doesn't get overloaded, and when you read it, it will be very fast. So how it splits, you have a defined property. We said, okay, if the region size crosses this one, there is a threshold, you split the region. So HBase framework understand that thing, and then it split it. So that region file or region folder will split into two different folders, two different regions. Okay, if you see in the backend how it will be structured. So two different folders will be there, different region folders, and there will be a split files for that one, which is pointing to the same files, but half of them. So okay, so if one region, so how region split one will point to half of the records, and the split two will point to other half of the record. So okay, in the backend also you can see those two files are getting created. Okay, so this is the way agent split happens. Now let me take you to the read operation. This is very important. So in read operations, there are a couple of things. Okay, before I take a read operation, let me just cover one more point: the delete operation. Whenever delete operation happens, as I mentioned earlier, that H files are immutable. Like you cannot delete those files. It will be like that only. Okay, so nothing can be deleted from this file. So how exactly will HBase will update the record, or how HBase will delete the record? Okay, because HBase provides those features. You can delete it, you can update it, all those things, which as not provided by the HDFS directly. So you cannot like Hive or HDFS. So now you cannot do these things directly. How HBase handles this? Whenever you send a delete command, it creates a delete marker. Okay, it creates a delete marker for that particular record. It will insert one new record and say, okay, this column, this version has been deleted. Okay, so this column, this version has been deleted. So it will create a delete marker, and whenever you read it, okay, while reading, it will ignore those delete markers, and it will read you all the data. So and the deleted marker, it will check the timestamp of the deleted marker. If the record which you are trying to read, okay, it's already deleted based on a timestamp which you are reading it, then it will be removed from your result when you get the result. Okay, so how exactly read happens? The request comes in, it goes to the regions, it goes like if you go from the starting, client sends a request to Zookeeper providing the Metadata information. From Metadata it gets all the region which is storing that particular row. Okay, now when you go one more deep layer, once you get the regions, it will go into that region. Okay, and for that region it need to scan all the store files. Correct? One region will have multiple store files based on the multiple column families and based on data. So there will be multiple store families. Okay, Then it has to scan all those store families and find out which the row key which belongs to which store family, and gets that information and produce that. As part of doing that, it adds a couple of optimization. First is that when it's scanning, it will when it gets the data, it will try to remove the delete marker thing. Okay, so deleted records will not be shown to you. It will try to, if you are reading a query based on timestamp, so it will just give you the latest one based on those timestamp. Along with that, there is one more optimization called Bloom filter. Okay, so Bloom filter is the information stored with the H files. Oh, sorry, on the store level. Okay, so when you query that one, so it will tell you that okay, this store file doesn't have those row keys. Okay, so it will not go inside that one and it will not scan those files. Okay, so Bloom filter will what it will do, it just provide you information. So it's very easy. So instead of scanning all the store files in that particular region, it will just scan specific store files, because first it will connect to Bloom filter. Bloom filter is already loaded in memory and understand that okay, the row keys, which row keys customer is looking at, those row keys belongs to which store files. It will give that information, and based on that information, it will just scan those store files and get the required information. Along with that, it will first scan the mem store as well. So anything which is latest, so it will get it from there, and then anything which is stored in the store file to get from it will merge both of them. After that, it will also apply delete filter and means remove deleted records, and then give you the information. So it's not updating any file or not. It's just adding one more record with the specific state of that. Okay. So this is the way write happens. So we have seen the read, we have seen the data model, and we have seen how the write happens in HBase. Now let me cover the one more important point, that is called compactions. So I have already mentioned here about H files, that whenever it writes, it creates multiple H files, and these H files keep storing into a disk. Okay. Now the problem is that for each when a mem store size is very small, so okay, it's 128 MB or whatever you configure. So the H files which will get very small H files are created. The smaller H files are not very useful because it has to manage a lot of metadata, and it has to manage the most information of the H files and all. So it's an overhead. So then HBase framework within itself, it keep on doing the compaction. So there are two different type of compaction generally happens. Minor compaction and major compactions. Okay. Minor compaction happens that okay, once data start coming in H files, okay, or whenever the region gets splitted, it triggers a minor compaction. Okay, means HBase automatically keep doing the minor compaction based on the different properties as well. Like if your number of H files crosses particular threshold, the minor compaction will trigger. But there are other places which I mentioned before that okay, when a region gets split, it automatically triggers a minor compaction. So what minor compaction does, it combines those small files into a bigger H files. Okay, like if I have 10 files, it might combine and make it to the 5 different files or 4 different files. It doesn't combine everything at one file, but try to combine small files and make it start with the bigger files. Okay, it's keep going on the back end. You'll not know it doesn't, because it takes a bit of performance. So that's why the minor compaction doesn't do a lot of merging. Now the other thing is major compaction. The major compaction, what it does, it's keep running. Either you can configure it based on your configuration HBase. Either it can run once in a day, or it can run once in a week, or you can totally stop it as well, and you can trigger manually. But what minor compaction does, it combines all the smaller H files and make it a bigger H file. That is one thing. It removes all the junk things, like if you have already deleted the record and all, and it doesn't need those records. So we have created, I remember I mentioned about it creates a delete marker. So all these delete marker related, it will remove all those records while doing a major compaction. Also, what it does that okay, when the major compaction runs, where what all region got split, like okay, I have first as I remember, when you insert record, create one region. Okay, this one region gets split into multiple regions. So the parent region is still there. Once the major compaction runs, the parent region gets deleted. So only the small regions are accessible. Okay, so when it splits data, it stops the access to the parent region, and it updates the information of the split region to meta table as well. So okay, whenever new requests will come in, it will go to the splitted region, it will not go to the parent region. But the parent region is now obsolete, it's no required, correct? So when major compaction runs, it deletes all those the things, the the parent region as well. Okay, so it cleans up, it keep cleaning the things as well. Okay. Also, major compaction helps that, okay, I want to delete, means there is one more concept in HBase is that when you create a table, there's a configuration. You can mention time to live. Okay, so time to live that, okay, it's a beautiful feature. So you can provide time to live that, okay, when I define my HBase table, I say time to live 6 months. So any data which is coming to that table, which is older than 6 months, okay, will get deleted automatically. You don't have to do anything. Okay, if you mention a term time to live for that particular column family 6 months, any data which is coming, so till 6 months nothing will be deleted, but after 6 months it will, whatever is older than 6 months, like assume 1 day, that 1 day data for 6 months, from 6 month 1 day, so 1 day data will be deleted. Okay, so it's rolling window, so old data getting deleted. So this deletion means maybe it first it puts a deletion marker, but when the major compaction run, it removes all those deleted things. Okay, so this is on the compaction. Okay. Also one more thing, the HBase I did cover before, but HBase keep putting the whenever you store data in HBase, there are multiple versions you can store it. Okay, so you can define in the HBase table that how many version of records I wanted for a particular column. So if I mention 3 version, so version means that, okay, what I insert today, so I can put like 3 versions. So for today, their timestamp will be stored. It will store that column name, timestamp, and the column value. Now you update that record, so it will update it, means you will give, when you read it, you will get the updated one, but in the backend both will be stored because you mentioned to store 3 versions. So version 1 with that previous timestamp, version 1 with the new timestamp, version 2 with the new timestamp, and if you update again, then version 3 will. So there will be 3 records for a particular column. And you can retrieve all of them. If you can read you can make a read query with that configuration that I need all the version, it can fetch out all the version for you. Okay, so it's a very beautiful features and all those things are there. And HBase API is also very good. I cannot cover everything on this session, but yeah, so I think this is like a more on the internal part of that what we are looking for. I will not make this video more longer. I think this covers that the internal data NH files get stored, and that would give you a fair understanding when you design data model how it should be stored. The last concept also I want to cover. Okay, I'll just quickly cover that one. The Roki part. So whenever you design any HBase application, the Roki is very important. Okay, so the design of the Roki is very important. So because when you query, HBase index all the data based on the Roki only. Okay, if you design wrong Roki, you will be getting a wrong result, correct? And if you design a better Roki, you will get a better Roki, the information. So all this Rokis, all data is stored in a lexicographical order. Means it will stored into the serial format. So in a sorted fashion. Okay, based on the Roki. So when you retrieve it, you can provide start Roki and Roki, and it will just retrieve those Rokis only. Okay, so the designing of the Roki is important because when you query, you have to define that, okay, which Roki. So if you can provide the starter and Roki, it will be very fast. Okay, so when you design a Roki, make sure that all the queries which you are planning to do on this database, the Roki should be designed like that. Okay, like you can mention that, okay, I have a customer ID, and then I have a product ID, and then I can have a timestamp. Okay, append. So that's Roki can be having these 3 different parts. Okay, hopefully you like this video, and I think this will help when you design HBase based application, which will help you a lot on those things. Okay, next video I'm planning to cover a real-time framework, means when you get a real-time events, how to process that. So it's just like I'll be covering Apache Kafka. That is one of the good tool, and it's mostly used in any of the companies which is dealing with real-time events and messaging and processing. Okay, you can name a lot of them, lot of Uber or any other companies which are dealing with real-time data. They are almost using Kafka as their layer to do a event-based processing. I'll cover that into a next session, which will be more on the Kafka architecture. Okay, till then, goodbye. My name is Jaswinder, and yeah, if you like this video, just like it and subscribe it.